Welcome, everybody, to Tune In and Find the Others. My name is Tony Guerin, and I'm excited to reach you all in whatever vessel you are in, whatever flesh suit, whatever realm of spirituality, whatever whatever you identify as, and move yourself through the world as known by. I honor you, and I say welcome to my podcast, which is a new thing, and I'm grateful to be here. I hope you are all having a lovely day, and you're getting after it and following your dreams and doing what you have always wanted to do. And if you're not doing that, then I hope you're doing that horrible job that you hate so much so good. And try to find the silver lining and the lessons in the way the universe just kind of speaks to you in weird synchronicities and moments. I'm really, really excited for our guest today. He goes by Drew Phoria. That's his stage name. Drew is a lovely friend that I've known for a long time. Someone that's not new to the festival scene, has been a part of many different lineups, music festival lineups, and curator of spaces where he does workshops based on art and spirituality and blending the two, and taking works from Alex Gray, and really trying to paint a picture of how we can live in this life more creatively, fully, more in tune. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Drew Phoria. What up, Drew?
Hey, everybody. What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Oh.
This is the first time I feel like I've been kind of sort of on stage in a while. So, I feel a little bit of that, good little bit of that stage fright for the first time in a while. What's that feeling? I haven't felt that in so long, so it's good to be here and chat with you and share some ideas with the world today.
Yeah. So what have you been up to lately?
Man, lately it has been a steady dose of Purple East and nature. It's kind of been the two, pillars of my life. To say it quite simply, been really just trying to simplify this year and just really kind of just build that core back up. Without music and art, there's just kind of been this gap. Wow, without the scene out there, what do I do? So yeah, I'm focused on the career, and I'm focused on reconnecting with nature and getting that charge that I would get from all the energy of being at a show, and kind of going out into nature and connect with nature and see if that will kind of provide some of that same lift, that archaic, how do I fill the gap? Go to the forest.
Yep.
It's just instinctually there. And so that's been really good.
So for those that don't know what Purple East is, in this whole journey that has been such a up and down roller coaster for you, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. So it was about this time last year that I was approached with the possibility of becoming the manager. And at the time, I knew that it was going to be a big decision, and that as a musician and a performer, it would be a huge, distraction from that. I was going to have to kind of, put that on the back burner and learn to integrate this whole new thing. And I really took a look at it and decided that I had to go for it, that I really didn't have anything to lose. And, when I took the company over, there were 4 locations. And it was an over-expansion project. Anybody who really kind of was looking closely knows that, that was a mistake. Everybody involved in the company kind of, could admit that now, that having that many locations was just too hard to fund and to stock properly. So the overexpansion was already kind of going poorly, and we were deciding to close locations, and then, COVID happened, and, it almost looked like we were going to go out of business for a second. And thankfully, due to, legal systems in the courts that allow you to get protection from your debts and reconsolidate your debts, and a really cool landlord that did the thing that everybody asked for the government to do. Like, they took 3 months off of the middle of our summer and tacked it on to the end of our lease so we can pay these 3 months that we were out of business. Like, we're paying that in 2022 or something. Like, it's great. They were awesome. So we're still open and rebuilding this thing. It used to be the biggest head shop in probably all of Michigan. It had this huge downtown building with a skate park and, tattoos and all this stuff. And just over the years, it's kind of just downsized and downsized and downsized. And, so we're back to one location. For those of you that are out there listening in the Grand Rapids area, just putting that out there. We're open. We're on Plainfield. It's a really nice little spot. And, the goal is just to kind of rebuild it from, what we have now and the situation we've kind of been, dealt, for better or worse, and to, just kind of reinvent it. There was that era when it was so big and so cool, and we had that skate park. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, so I'm the manager of this thing. I kind of got to rebuild it. So, what's the next version of that? So I'm crafting up some ideas. And, I don't want to spoil it too much and give everybody, the full business plan, but I definitely want to reintegrate the music and the art scene back into Purple East, really, really hard. So, musicians and artists, if you're out there listening, hit me up and let's talk about how we can get your art or your music in there. And we're just going to start there and kind of, rebuild that snowball with the local scene.
Wow. Yeah. And I remember when I was a little kid and, not a little kid, I would say 15, 16 years old. And, we would try to get into Purple East because we heard it was the cool spot to go,
Right.
And that, so I wouldn't nothing else would I wouldn't want to be anywhere else downtown. It was just the spot to be. So we all would go there and try to get in and see the pieces. And we heard about the skate park and we're like, oh man, that's cool. And I remember it just was this scene. It was this, it was a landmark of Grand Rapids. It really was. And, I think what you're trying to do is really trying to give it that spirit back.
Right.
And it's exciting and it's commendable, to see you doing this and, downsizing to one location. So it's a lot more easily done. It's a lot, you can just focus on one place. You can build it from the ground up. In a lot of ways, there's so many things already in place. You didn't really have to build it from the ground up, but, as far as you can start implementing possibly little shows or whatever, it's really cool to see that this place can be a space where people can come as they are and feel like they can decompress or they can hang out with their friends. And we need more places like that.
Yeah, I really appreciate the sentiments and that you sharing. Because I remember, I had really fond memories of Purple East when I was really young too. The first head shop I visited, and when I first moved to Grand Rapids with my hometown best friend, we on his birthday went in on our first water piece that we bought together. Had that in our apartment. A lot of us that have been around the Grand Rapids community have some pretty cool memories of what Purple East used to be and how it was this this big thing. And I don't really think it has to be that that big downtown thing to be a Purple East right now. Retail has kind of become a different world with the internet anyway. So this big, huge retail shop currently isn't sustainable for us. In the future, we might add some things and have some new programs and be able to build back to that. But honestly, I'm really comfortable with what we have right now. And, we have talked about all kinds of new additions for things. We want feedback from the community. Like, what was your favorite part about Purple East? When was the last time you came? If you haven't been in a while, like why? What was your experience? Is there something in the inventory that we used to carry that we don't anymore? Like, let us know, because we want to know what the community wants from Purple East too. And I get some feedback, but the more feedback from everybody else that I can get about what they're looking for, the better. Because I'm looking to just meet community needs. And we're adding crystals. We're gonna add some flow toys. We're gonna have musical instruments for you to come in and play. I want to have more art supplies. Like, I want to add creative things that people can come in and do, or just have more of this, like, just again the music and art scene kind of support that, create a space for that, create a space for people to find and connect with local music and art. That was kind of one of the key things that I remember, like, when I was young. Like, you go to the head shop and there's just all those posters on the wall, and like before the internet, that was how you found out about where all the cool people hung out. You go to like that one cool place, and then you find out about all the clubs and all the shows. And I really miss that energy, and like want to kind of recreate that energy in any way that we can. We're just come, hang out, play some music. I've got the guitar, I've got the open piano, and I got sanitation wipes to wipe them off when you're done. So come on in and play the instruments. Have some fun. Like, this is a space where we can have a little bit of that fun that we're missing from the festival environment.
Yeah, that's true. And that's I guess that's a good direction to go. I mean, what do you think of all these festivals not being around anymore? And what I've seen this meme shared around a lot, which is like, I just want to see a show, and it's like a sad face or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I think of Darth Vader in Star Wars Episode 3 when he's like, it's like, God damn, we miss that. We need that as a community. And
I feel that.
I think there's one of the things that I've tried to do with grass in Grand Rapids is try to build that kind of community that you see at festivals in the city, so it can be a consistent. There can be consistent events that are like festivals, and now we have a partnership with the DAC where we're literally about to sign the contract for our rent at the DAC, and we're going to be able to utilize that space for shows, for open mic, for all kinds of stuff. And so to have yes, and so I think me and you are both in the same boat as far as trying to cultivate. We've always been, but like cultivating these events in spaces. And now we're at the real point of being able to do that at a place that we manage ourselves or like run ourselves, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Right.
Yeah, if I could just like paraphrase like that whole segment of what you just said in like one simple statement that I've kind of been in the back of my mind repeating to myself. If I can't perform or teach my workshop at a festival, and we don't know when we're going to be able to do that again, how do I share that out in the real world? Right? Mm-hmm. There's spaces, and there's this whole community out here that's never really experienced what we experience at festivals. So I think how I really deep down really feel about all the festivals being shut down, I mean, it sucks for all of us performers, and like the people that rely on it financially, there like really is no compensation or replacement. Like I fear for the industry, seriously, that it's going to crumble because there's no aid coming to the world of professional performers. But if there's one thing that we all can remember to do is, and I've been inspired by you a little bit, by this too. Is like you're continuing to push and find spaces to get out there and share your music. And I haven't really done that as much. I've been super focused on the business. You know, I play for my customers, and I do that, and then like that's kind of been enough for me. But I have been feeling the urge lately as an artist, like, am I getting out there enough? Like, now that this whole business thing is stabilizing, I kind of got my bearings. I need to just like get out there and busk, and just get out there and find places to share the music with the world. Because if we don't have festivals to do this in as artists, we can just bring that to the rest of the world, because the rest of the world needs that medicine that we offer everybody in that safe space. And if we go out into the world, we might not be as warmly received and as understood as we would in that safe space where we know we can share our art and music, and everybody's just gonna take it in and probably enjoy it. And our art, if it's really meaningful, would maybe be met with some resistance by some people out there in the real world. Yeah. But I think that's kind of this time that we have to, as artists, step up and
embrace that,
take that responsibility. Yeah, as artists to make our voices heard. And this is just this cataclysmic moment in history that art always has to be a part of these moments in history. So yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. Is it's time to share that medicine with the rest of the world.
I think you're spot on. I think I just the amount of So here's a good example. The past few weeks I've been playing in Hastings. I got hired by the city of Hastings to busk on the sidewalk, which is weird, but also a really cool experience where I ran into people that it was like meant to be. Right. Yeah. There was like these synchronistic moments, and did they give me $100? No, but there was moments where there was a smile. There was like, oh, I understand what you're saying. Like, thanks for doing your work. Like, there's these little moments where in a town like Hastings, which, I mean, if you ever travel into Hastings, there's Trump signs everywhere. So when you go into it, like, you're thinking that, oh man, like, is my music really going to be well received? Because I'm all, my music is all about, be the love you seek, and like, let's tear down the system, and like, so that direction of my music, I didn't think was going to be well received in that area, but I was very surprised at how when you bring yourself, you create the space. And people that are ready for that message, they come into it. So I feel like when you're just like out busking, if you create the environment, you create the space, the people that are meant to hear that message and that are in alignment with you are going to enter that space too. And we're going to create more of these spaces out and about where people are learning and growing and connecting with each other that need to be connected. And we're going to further our understanding of how to move through this cataclysmic time.
Man, that's really spot on too, because, yeah, you really inspired me to just get out there on one of these days and, with no intention other than to just express myself, just, hit a street corner, and just go connect with some random people and see what happens. Because that really is sometimes where the magic happens, when you just, you go out into the world, as you say, with no real intention other than just to create a space and to put your vibe out there and to see what experiences you attract by doing that. And I mean, that is what so many of us are missing right now, when we don't have spaces created for us to do that. Right? Like, we can go to a concert at a local venue, we can go to music festivals, and we can have all these experiences because there's a space curated for us to go and have that experience. And so then the magic just sort of happens. So it is really more and more up to us to curate those experiences for ourselves And it's, like, how do you do that with COVID and social distancing and everything? I understand it's a challenge, but but especially for artists, I feel like we're just like made to express ourselves. So finding any of those creative ways to get out there is really important. And maybe that's why I haven't been totally in alignment. I've had like a really rough year, and just kind of struggled with maintaining mental health, as most people have. But now that we're talking about it, I really feel that that urge that just getting out there and expressing myself to just a dozen humans and would be enough to really just like spark that inner, like, yeah, I'm a performer. That's right. I still do that. I still make people happy with that skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Drew, honestly, I mean, when I went out yesterday, it was amazing. There was not a lot of people that passed by me, but the ones that did, it was magical. It was really cool because it wasn't about like getting money.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's obviously you would like that, and I would like, yeah. But when I just like was trying to play as authentically as I could. And I would love for you to for us to join on social media and say like, hey, on this date, like Drew and I are going to go out on the streets of Grand Rapids, and we'll have because I had my microphone set up, I had my amp set up, and it sounded great. So we could do like a dual concert and have people socially distance out on the sidewalk and see us play. I think that would be a really cool thing.
I would be totally down for that. I need to get out and do that. Backstory for those of you out there that have known that Tony and I have been friends for quite a while. We actually met busking during Art Prize, right?
It was the same.
I was always in my little.
It was the same sidewalk.
Yeah. And I was breaking in all the tips with my hula hoop and guitar trick, and I was taking a break, and I walked past Tony, and he's just singing like all these songs that just mean so much to the world, and didn't have a whole lot of money in his tip jar. And I was like, dude, just drop some money in his tip jar. It's like, here's for getting out here and singing some songs that matter. And that was the beginning of our friendship. So it's one of my more meaningful and memorable ways of meeting a friend.
Yeah, I mean, doing what we love to do, we're both in our element, that's what a way to start off a friendship. I think that's great. I'm going to take this moment to shout out our two sponsors for today.
Awesome.
We got Lemieux Smithing. My friend Joseph Lemieux makes knives. He's like a metal worker from the East Coast, and he started just trying it out. He bought an anvil and decided that he was just gonna try to become a blacksmith, and he did it, and he was super good at it. And then now he's an 11-year seasoned metal worker. He quit his job a few years ago to go full time with this. And he specializes in custom knives, metalworking art, restoration projects for items of historic value. So he's a really cool guy and could give you a deal on some cool knives. He can engrave whatever you want specifically in your knife. I'm actually thinking about getting one for myself because I don't have a knife anymore. But I think that would be, I don't know, it would be cool to have a panther on there or something. That's this panther means something very specific to me. So I think that'd be really cool. But if you want to check that out, it's LemieuxSmithing.com, LEMIEUX smithing.com. And I'll put that in the description. And also, we are sponsored by Bedroom Ceilings, which is a band in Grand Rapids. Dean Chittenden, Michigan singer-songwriter and pianist since youth. He and Ben Steer collaborated together, and several other people came through to make this band, and they have explored so many different styles of music, and lately they've been working on like Americana and folk, and even though they've been like really influenced by like indie electronic and jazz, they put out an album in May 2020. So if you want to check that out, it's bedroomceilings.bandcamp.com, and that will be in the description below. Again, if you want to be a supporter of this podcast, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/tunein, and I'll put that in the description as well. Thank you guys for supporting me as I go on this strange journey of talking to weird people such as myself, and and try to make something of these conversations, and try to get these important conversations on the web for y'all to listen to. It's a pleasure to be here, let me tell you. I'm happy, I'm grounded, I'm centered. Drew, what color would you be today if you were a color?
Green.
Green. What? Why would you pick green?
It's a cool color. I'm feeling pretty chill today. So it definitely is like a cool color day. I don't know. Green is just kind of like this, like standard, like I think always kind of has been, like feeling for me. You know, just kind of, you know, calming, soothing, but just with like enough energy to it that it's always got that like little bit of spark in it. It's like somewhere between the cool colors and the warm colors, you know.
So you got your
green most days. I resonate with the green man. Actually, I've had some like really cool experiences, like you say, or like some of these like magical sort of like moments and synchronicities where you know, been the green man like in other people's experiences, and like manifested as the green man in their experiences. So I think I'm just a very green person most days. You know?
We are of the earth, and the earth is green. And we are not mean, but we are friends. And I'm just trying to, in the moment, rewire this conversation to something that can be something, but at the same time, like, in my own process of being vulnerable with that process. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's like, it's a moment of like trying to just be with the flow and be with the moment, and just try to continue to bring content forward, even though like my brain is a little mush.
Yeah.
I had an amazing night last night, and I ended up playing busking for like 6 hours actually, and then I went to a bonfire and played more music and drank some wine and hung out with my partner, and we like watched Star Wars until she fell asleep, and then I turned it off, and like woke up in the middle of the night with this weird dream, absolutely weird. Like it was Ashton was at the end, Ashton Robertson was at the end of this, like it was almost like in Zelda where you have to jump the icebergs.
Okay.
At the end of the icebergs, Ashton was just like, come on, man, come on, you can do it. And I jumped. onto the first one, and it like took me a while to get my ground, but I knew I could do it. And he was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you." And then like this weird
the wobble master himself, just jumping over him like it's nothing,
he's on top of the world. I'm so proud of Ashton.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
But yeah, I got this weird sound out of nowhere, and it ended up being my partner was breathing into the same pillow, and I was hearing it in my dream. Like, she was making this really weird noise into the pillow, and I could hear it in my dream, and it was like, it sounded like somebody like screaming or somebody like, and I was like, whoa, what is that? First I thought it was like somebody having sex in the other room, like, so I was like, wow, that's crazy, that's interesting to wake up to. And then it was like this weird sound. I'm like, what is that? And I look over and she's like in the same pillow, and I'm like, oh, I get it. So it was a very, very, very strange dreamland night. Did you have any dreams last night?
Not that I can recall. I don't recall my dreams very often. That's probably because I smoke a lot more weed than you. Yeah. I find that if I do like take a little break or smoke way less weed in a day, I will tend to remember my dreams a little bit more. But as a habitual cannabis smoker, that is one of those things that I kind of wish wasn't so much of a side effect, because I had fascinating dreams when I was young, and I was a frequent dreamer. And I kind of thought about taking a break sometimes just to see what happens in my dreams as an adult, because it was wild when I was a kid.
Well, I've also noticed that if you meditate right before you go to sleep, it helps you dream so much more, or remember your dream, or be vivid in your dream.
Right, just setting the intention of choosing that you would like to remember, and like dream journaling and like that type of stuff.
Yeah. So you don't have to, I mean, if you want to take a break from weed, by all means, but
right.
I think if you started doing a dream journal, and this is for anybody too that's listening, like, I can say with absolute certainty that when I meditate before I go to sleep, or if I've meditated heavily in the day, I can actually have lucid dreams. I can almost guarantee that I'm going to have a lucid dream. And
interesting.
Also, I will, it helps. Well, I was just going to say, it helps as well to have like the dream journal and all that. But if you decide that you're going to dream, it's like, I choose to dream tonight, it would be really nice to like experience that and remember that. I've done that before, and it literally happens. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just like whatever connection I have with the universe. Like, not that it would be any better or different. Like, I just think that like sometimes manifestation is easier for some people than other people. So I don't know. I've just experienced that, and I want other people to be able to experience that too. So try it. See if you like it. See if it works.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject for sure. Yeah, lucid dreaming. I used to be really into that. I don't know. I'd say about a decade ago, I was on more focused on the dream world experience. Lately I've been trying to be a little bit more grounded and just kind of focus on, okay, like, how do I take care of myself in 3D better, but, the astral world and like what we can do and, what we can play with, and that, that dreamy, astral plane is really cool stuff. And, it's like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go on that one? But yeah, I think just, starting with, like you said, some simple intentions, and if you have a dream journal, by your bed and write things down in the morning, you can start to notice patterns in your dreams. And then once you notice, like, oh, like I dream this like 3 nights a week, and then you can see, okay, like I'm dreaming that again, and then you become conscious that you're dreaming the same thing that you've had this like repetitive dream about, and so now you're aware that you're dreaming, and you can like find these cool little ways to train your mind to become aware of dreaming within the dream state. Or like these like little tricks, like look at the clock, and the clocks never tell time accurately in the dream, so like you can train your mind to like look for these little cues while you're dreaming to snap into being conscious. And like I used to play with that a lot more, and that might be fun to keep trying that out. Thanks for the tips, Tony.
Yeah, so like my phone, that was the first time when I first did a lucid dream. It was my phone that really got me to recognize that I was in a lucid dream, because my phone was totally different. Like I looked at my phone and it was like, wait a second, this isn't my phone, because it's something you look at every single day.
Right.
Yeah, so
you like train your mind in your meditation before sleep. Like, I'm going to check my phone in my dream.
Yeah.
I'm going to check to see if it's actually my phone. If it's not actually my phone, then your brain has been, subconsciously programmed by your meditations to recognize that this is a dream, because you're looking at your phone. You've trained your mind that you're going to look at your phone, and when you recognize that it's not the same phone, you know you're dreaming. Yeah. Little tricks like that. It's I used to do that stuff a lot. Like, I was in my psychology classes in college. I was actually, another fun little backstory, way back in the day when I thought college was the right thing for me. I wanted to be a psychologist because I was really fascinated with psychology, with the archetypes, with the subconscious mind, and how we can sort of look at some of these like hidden layers of ourselves and dig that up and just become conscious of how we are the way we are, so that we can get better at being how we are.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Carl Jung, and I love studying the archetypes. And even though I don't follow, like I don't appreciate Jordan Peterson as much as I used to, because of it should be obvious reasons.
Yeah, there's some issues there.
But his work
there's
on
some good stuff there. Like anybody with issues, usually there's some good stuff there in the mix.
Yeah. So, one of the things that he's really into is like bridging the gap, or like really like showing how the hero's journey, the archetypes that Jung put out, are like relevant or are prevalent in every aspect of our society. And you can look at Pinocchio, you can look at Lion King, you can look at just like the system itself being like a father figure, you know what I mean?
Right. The hero's journey, I think it's Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
Describes, the hero's journey, and how, these similar archetypes that you find in Carl Jung's work, show up in the hero's journey. And then when like you really break down the hero's journey, it's like every movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can start to see yourself,
like regardless of what is going on in the movie, it's like the hero's journey, even in like sitcoms and like comedies.
Yeah.
Like we're still just like, we're on Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, like all the time. Yeah.
What I was going to say is when you can start to see yourself as that hero of your own story, that's where you start to really take agency in your life and recognize that, or just play with it as if it's a game, or play with it as if it's a
piece of art.
It's a piece of art, and
it's a piece of art that you're playing with and creating live every day.
You're the paintbrush.
Yeah.
And life is the canvas. It's an interesting thing that I feel like I've like really solidified that through like listening to some of your workshops.
I miss doing the workshop. Like this is the closest that I've been to that energy in a while, and it's really invigorating and it feels really cool. I'll just do another shout out to anybody listening. If you're interested in talking about music and art and spirituality, or even if spirituality is not your thing, we can just change the language to music and art and psychological growth. Like, it's really kind of up to you which path you want to take with the language, but I think that the concepts still apply. That when you really dig deep and look at the music and art that you choose and like your inner self, and you're trying to work on yourself, there's a lot of clues that you can get that maybe you're not even fully consciously aware of in like the media and the art that you're absorbing and what you need to be working on. And it's something I really miss talking about. I feel like I kind of look at my background where I wanted to go to school for psychology, and I was like, I don't know, like that whole system's kind of fucked up, and I don't want to subscribe people to a bunch of drugs. Like I'm dipping out of the system, and decided to go and be an artist instead. There's still that like deep inner drive to sort of bridge that gap and offer some of that desire to counsel and to dig deep through art and music, and to I inspire myself and other people to to learn how to work on ourselves and make it, like you said, like it's like a game. If you can make the work fun, it doesn't feel so heavy.
Right. Yep. And I feel like that's just it's a mind switch. It's a belief system switch of like the way, like I can tell you the first time I took mushrooms was the most important thing that ever happened to me, I believe, because it was like 2 weeks after that I recognized, and I associate it completely with the mushrooms. It was 2 weeks after that I fully integrated what I learned, and I recognized for the first time in my life that I could create my own happiness, and that I can rewrite the story in which I was enacting in that particular day. And it changed everything for me. When I finally recognized that I could just, on a dime, recognize that the story in which I'm creating, I don't want to create anymore. And I choose to change this day from where it's going right now. And when I found out that I could do that and it actually worked, it totally changed my life. And now it's never the same, because I know that in every moment there's a chance. Every moment has a choice to be different or be more positive or be it can even turn really dark in any moment, but you have the capacity to, in those short moments after, respond. And how you respond says a lot about your character too, in the moments when you're with people, and how you're able to guide them as well through whatever moment is happening. And I think that's really going to be really, really important for, as these various systems are no longer serving the people. And you have situations like secret police going into different cities and those kind of things. I mean, you're going to have situations that are going to be really uncomfortable and really distractive, and you're going to be put in a fear-based place. But it's like, if you can learn how to step into that moment and choose a different story of how you're going to react and how you're going to, and what you're capable of, we can really step into who we're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you make a really great point, and it's kind of one of those things that I really just wish would kind of wash over society, is that, and I fall guilty of this as well, because I think all of us are somehow sort of being conditioned, or as a culture, we have conditioned ourselves and let it get out of hand, where we just react. We're on social media and you see it every day in every comment section, where instead of like taking that moment to like, okay, like to take this all in, like, what does my core identity do about this? What does my core identity say? How does that react? And you're getting a lot of people now that are behind a social media shield, can be really nasty with each other in ways that these people wouldn't even be if you were introducing these two people as friends and having this conversation between the three of you in a real live setting.
Yep.
This happened to me just the other day about, the police brutality, where, one friend is like, well, they shouldn't have broken the law. And the other friend is, well, oh my God, like they're taking people away in unmarked vehicles. This is fascism, which it is for all of you out there listening. If there's any doubt about it, that's fascism. Okay, we can move on. The thing is not so much whether or not you like that or agree with it, but how we discuss it. Because, I have two friends, and both of them being different, like people of color, now like talking all kinds of trash to each other about the whole Black Lives Matter and like the defund the police, and just like they're calling each other names. And I know both of these people are pretty like chill, like really reasonable people to talk to. I've never had a bad experience with either one of them, and here are these really, really hot topics, and we have people that are now just like harshly and aggressively speaking to each other, when probably if all three of us were just having like a discussion at just a social gathering, we might have some slight disagreements, but we would all kind of like meld this dialogue into this like friendly sort of like, yeah, like I think I kind of understand that this is a complex issue and that we can't just, like have these reactions and assume and project all of these ideas onto another person because they said this one thing. But social media has become this space where like that's what we do. And again, like I know that I've fallen prey to that. I've reacted defensively or aggressively towards people that have different views than me, even slightly. And I apologize to anybody if I've kind of been a jerk or stepped over my boundaries.
Same.
Because I'm trying to become aware that this is something that's becoming normalized and that I don't want it to be normalized. And if I'm going to speak against it, I need to be aware every time that I do it and like check myself and say, hey, look, like I'm sorry, we might disagree on this, but I probably spoke to you in a way that was disrespectful, and I'm sorry. And I think we should normalize that. Like, hey, look, like we disagree, so like it's okay to disagree, but being able to have the civil discourse is so important. And the ability to talk trash on social media, to not have to see the reaction of somebody's face or the emotional reaction, or to know whether or not something that you're saying is a trigger word for them that you maybe have no idea in the story, and like how much pain you could be causing by laugh reacting something that they said, or just like it's become this space where we don't have a lot of healthy communication going on, and that's like a real issue that we got to fix in our culture. It's just going to keep getting worse.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I'm really grateful you said that, because it really ties into what I was saying too, with like in those moments really tapping in to like, hey, this person said this thing and I'm like, I'm super triggered right now, but oh wait, take a breath and let's see if we can formulate a intelligent response that is connected culturally, that's connected to our belief systems, and it's coming from a place of centeredness. But it also like that's also something that like I want to acknowledge is so hard for people of color to do because of how much they have been talking in a specific tone, like trying to they've had to almost like conform to a certain language to be able to even speak about their injustice. And man, it's just it's so shitty that we have to come to this point of like it has to be fucking screamed, and right. The fact that like we need to like set cities on fire for the system to actually acknowledge what it has been doing for decades and decades, and for people that are just mostly white people that are just blissfully unaware that their actions are causing harm. It's an amazing time to be in, and we have to be very careful how we speak to one another.
Right.
But also these conversations absolutely need to be had, and we're going to make mistakes along the way. And I think, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to start a podcast, is because I think you can really get to know somebody at their core, or get to get into somebody's brain a little bit better when you're in a conversation, when you get deep into the conversation, because this is a totally different conversation from at the beginning of when we were talking, you know what I mean? So, and you don't get that when it's just a post on Facebook. You get a snippet of who somebody is, and you go instantly, that person is not my friend. That is not somebody I want to acknowledge or be a part of. And I get it, because I have blocked people, because it's just, there's a Trump thing, and then there's like no mask, and then there's a
whole list of how quickly you unfriend somebody,
right?
Now, because you disagree with them, for everybody on any issue now. And it's tough, because you'd like to see more community, even if we don't agree with each other on everything.
Yeah, and I don't want to alienate anybody. I don't want to create like a bubble of like just people that believe what I believe. That's not something I want at all. But I think the climate politically has come to such a point that if you really are supporting Trump at this point, I'm sorry. Like, it's just not, I don't see your perspective at all. Like, I'm trying my best to acknowledge a lot of what the right has to say, because there's some valid points there. I can recognize the validity in some of the the calling out of the left on so many things, and I'm not trying to say that I'm left, or that I'm Democrat or anything like that. I see the flaws in the system at large on both sides, and there's a lot of confusion going on. There's a lot of propaganda going on. Sorry.
One thing I want to interject here real quick while it's still fresh in my mind is, I know you're a fan of Terrence McKenna. Have you heard what he has to say about memes and his about memes? And if anybody out there is a Terrence McKenna fan, or if you're not, check this guy out. He was way ahead of his time. The amount of propaganda, we are literally being trained to become propaganda machines. And as Terrence McKenna even says, the meme is literally the most simplified version of an idea that there is. And meme culture invites people to, this is almost direct quote here, meme culture invites people to diminish themselves and dehumanize themselves by behaving like machines, meme processors of memes passed down from Madison Avenue and Hollywood and what have you. And that's the truth. And I find when I really look at that, and I really dig deep and look at the memes that I share, maybe 70% of the meme resonates with me, and so I share it, and then there's this huge argument, and because of that 30% of the meme that wasn't really didn't even resonate with me, and now I'm arguing with people about this part of the meme that I don't even agree with myself.
Absolutely.
When you use a meme, you're really just spitting back somebody else's idea like a machine. You're just repeating somebody else's propaganda or somebody else's agenda. So You know, the meme generation really has made it to where we don't have to like critically think or share our own speech. We just share the meme, and it's like we're just like, it's mechanical for some people, and that's how they do their thinking. It's a really dangerous way to get your news and to do all of your thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we need to be critically thinking, whatever side of the coin you are, on the left or the right, or not even, you're an anarchist or libertarian or Green Party, whatever you are, like, it's so important to be critically thinking when something blows up in the news.
Right.
Really look into it and really try to see the inconsistencies, because there are so many things on the left and the right that are being controlled to look a certain way, so that it
all the time
creates an explosion in the population. And sometimes that explosion is necessary, and sometimes it's right and justified, like the George Floyd shooting. It was like, boom, it exploded, and for the black community, it was like, we are fucking done. Like, we are done. And that incited this huge wave of justice that is now sweeping the nation. That is, I'm very grateful for. I'm very proud of so many of these people that are like really doing the work of, putting pressure on these various systems and police departments to be better. Like, be better. Or be better or be dismantled. I really feel like that's the call, because there needs to be action. There's been too many lives that have been lost, and it's been too many generations of Black and Indigenous people of color that have just been shafted by the system.
Absolutely, and murdered by the system.
Yeah,
cops, the license shouldn't be a license to kill people without persecution, without being charged for murder. If there was not a, reasonable, we have the camera on. If we can tell that somebody was pointing a gun at you or trying to shoot you or trying to stab you, you were defending yourself, we can see that. If a person is unarmed and you shoot them because you're an asshole cop that's not emotionally mature enough to be a cop, we can see that. So, know the difference and be better. Absolutely.
It's something that we're going to have to really, like I said before about like choosing a new story or choosing a new paradigm to operate out of, when you that could be about your day, but it could also be about the various systems. It's going to be really important soon. What do we choose to enter into? What do we choose? What comes next? What is the ideal situation for, what does the ideal cop look like? What does the ideal system look like? And is it even feasible to get there? And what steps can we take now to make sure those systems are more just, and more in alignment with, nature and reality, and not this just like, it's almost like this old guard is just hanging on because that's just the way they have done things this whole, it's like that's just the way it's been, and any threat against that is communism or something.
Right. I mean, it's like any threat against it, they have, their counter propaganda plan already dialed up from however many years ago, when they plan for this reaction or that reaction, and they've got all their counter propaganda schemes, which is the dangerous part, because again, when we're just out there impulsively sharing things that resonate with us, we could accidentally be sharing propaganda that was designed by somebody who knows that, well, I've got this person here and they share things like this, and if I sneak in this one little phrase, they're going to share something that actually creates a dialogue that's not beneficial to their cause, but we're going to sneak that in there. And I know I can convince a bunch of people to share that because I've got that one trigger,
right?
That reaction that, if you put that trigger in there, they're like, oh, I resonate with that, I'm going to share it.
Right.
And so then all the rest of it might be trash. But if you can get them to share something because of that one trigger, you've convinced somebody to share bad propaganda for you. And, again, I will fully admit that I've done it myself and need to catch myself and to be more aware of it myself. But it's out there, and I've never seen it as thick and as dirty and as psychologically dangerous.
Not the good thick.
2000, yeah. Like it's dangerous right now, the way that the over villainization of each party by the other is causing such social division that. But
I also think I want to interject here because I think that this divide that we're starting to see more and more is almost necessary. It almost feels like both sides need to get to what they're actually talking about or what they're actually fighting for in a very clear, realistic vision, so that it can be a duel of ideas. It really can be. Like, I know I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but I feel like I have an inkling of what is going on is what's supposed to happen, that there's supposed to be this like polarization so that each side can get clear on exactly who they are. It's almost like a marriage, like that, like the divorce that happens, like that the two parents like separate so they can figure out what their bullshit is and what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are.
Reflecting it off of the other all the time.
Yes.
Reflecting and blaming the other.
Yes.
Right. I think maybe that's one of the ultimate things that everybody's having a hard time with, and why everybody's getting so defensive is hardcore party loyalty has been such a thing that we're conditioned for. It's a generational thing. I know people that we only vote left across the board, and we only vote right across the board, and that's their family. That's how they're raised. That's how their entire family is. It's this generational thing that, we don't look across the board. We don't think about their views. We fight for our side to the death, and we win, we're happy. If we lose, we talk trash about the other one until we win again. And, that has been the way that we've done politics in America for generations. And that form of dialogue needs to end, because we're getting to the toxic, pivotal, worst version of it. And it's not looking so good. We need to really learn to be able to have these civil discussions and to not just project and villainize the other based off of the sins that they have, because obviously there's pros and cons and flaws and things to be proud of on either side of the conversation, and there really is. But it's how we talk to each other and accomplish those things. Generations and generations ago, there was still a lot of disagreement, but it wasn't this ugly. It wasn't this bad. We didn't hate each other that much like we do today. I hate the liberals. Oh, I hate the Republicans. It's just we really, really have this issue where it's been radicalized. Each party has really become radicalized, and it's really hard to be a jaded centrist without a party these days. It's a lonely club,
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to get to and I think this is what's really beautiful about the pandemic, is that it caused people to stay at home and get in touch with who they are and what they actually believe. Because, we're a lot of us, when we're in this realm of going to work and going home and taking a shower, watching TV, going to sleep, getting up, a lot of our culture is, a lot of the news we get is through memes, or a lot of the news that we get, when you're in that cycle and you just and you're not able to actually just like sit with yourself and actually learn about what are my actual passions. I know I'm like working this job that like I went to school for, or like maybe I didn't go to school for, and doing this thing, and it's just the rat race, and it's like it's just what I gotta do. And then all of a sudden this pandemic just barrels into our lives, and we're like, what is going on? Like, is it the end of the world? And then we get into like having to stay home all the time, and for a lot of people it was very depressive and very strugglesome mentally, and I was one of those people. It hurt in a lot of ways. I had just asked somebody to be my girlfriend like right as the stay-at-home order happened, and it was like, okay, so when am I gonna see like the person? Like, I don't know, it just happened that way, you know. So I think like that time though, when we were able to be alone, like really be alone, and some of us couldn't. I want to recognize that there's a lot of people that were stuck with people that they did that were either abusive or that were not okay mentally. But I think in a lot of ways,
to anybody that was living through and could still be living through that situation.
Yeah.
You're like some of the bravest out there of all of us in this situation.
Absolutely. It's weird times. It's weird times, but I think we're getting closer to justice, and justice in the means of do you actually follow through with what you say? Like, I think like the world is really calling out for everyone to step up into accountability and into authenticity. And if you're not doing that, you will be shown that, like, to the world that you are not trustworthy, you know? And that's transparency. It's rough.
There's no more, masks that you can hide behind. It's all out there.
Yeah. Well, Drew, I think we've been talking for a good while. I think this is 108 now. That's a beautiful number.
Keep going, but you can just hang out with us if you want to hear us talk about more cool stuff.
I think
we're pretty cool to hang out with. If you want to hear more cool stuff, just hit us up.
Yeah, please. I mean, I love to connect with anybody that is listening on this. Like, if you need someone to reach out to, Drew's the same way. Drew's busy, I'm busy, but we'll find time to connect with you. And we want you to tune in and find other people that you can be friends with and can help you through these weird times, so we can be the love we seek, we can be grounded and be the change we need to exert into the world.
Yeah I'm here to help. I'm here to support anybody. If you reach out, like Tony said, I get busy, but I do my best to be there for anybody who reaches out that needs support or inspiration, or if you need a little bit of help getting your creative hobby going, I'm pretty good with like lessons or just kind of holding space or helping me find some inspiration for your creative path, all that stuff. Just hit me up. I'd love to chat. I need more of that. So if you feel even slightly inspired, just hit me up. I'm available.
I just randomly hit the no button. I just like that I can do that. Oh God. All right, Drew, you're a magical human being. I don't even know if you're a human being. Maybe you're an alien or some kind of strange life form, but you have been
if I am, then we all are. So
I think we're all different alien races that have all decided to congregate on this planet that has been seeded by another alien race, which is mushrooms. And we ate other aliens, and we became even greater versions of our aliendom. And God damn it, it feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere with that whole experience. So it's a little bit more shadow work, and maybe we'll break through here. We're close. We're close.
We got it. We got it.
Like the light at the end of the tunnel is worth the struggle, right?
Yes. I mean, you gotta push on through to the other side, right?
Right.
All right, brother. Well, it was really good to talk to you. I appreciate you, and appreciate anybody listening. If you want to support the podcast, we have a Patreon. We'll put that in the description below. Check out Drew's stuff. Check out Bedroom Ceilings and Lemieux Smithing. I hope you all have a beautiful day.